Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the webinar. Looks like we have some people still joining, so we're just going to hold off here just for a minute and let others join. I'll do a quick introduction of myself. I'm David Hall. I think a lot of you know me that are registered for this webinar. So that's good. A few housekeeping items. I'll bring this up a few times, but in chat, I put a note up there. I'm interested to know. Oh, there's somebody from Germany just posted. Thank you. So in chat, feel free to post questions. I also have a question there. You know, if you already have an IoT platform, what's your IoT solution or business need? And what is the most important thing you're looking for from an IoT platform? Is it security, cost, customization? Those sort of things. So feel free to interact with the chat. As I said, feel free to ask any questions as well when we go through this webinar. But for that, I think we have quite a few people joining. Great turnout for this webinar today. So thank you for joining the webinar series provided by TagoIO 2025 series. Today we're going to be talking about configuring and deploying single instances for IoT with TagoDeploy. TagoDeploy has been a product of ours for a little bit of time now. We have several customers, more than several, quite a few customers taking advantage of TagoDeploy itself. So if we get into that, let me do some introductions. Again, I'm David Hall, Customer Success Manager here at TagoIO. Welcome, everybody. I also have Victor Lima, which you'll hear from here shortly. He is our lead application software engineer. So very happy to have Victor with us today. But if we talk about the agenda just a little bit, you know, obviously we want to talk about some of the new features that we have on TagoDeploy, but really what is TagoDeploy, right? You know, what do projects mean within TagoDeploy? Standalone deployments, we're going to cover some of that. MQTT clients and access, that's a very important part, very popular, but it's not the only thing you could do on TagoDeploy as far as connectivity, right? And I'll show you how to get registered. And as I said, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to post them in chat. I see Ralph has joined. Thank you, Ralph. Nice to have you with us today. With that, I think we'll get started here a little bit. But again, I want this to be interactive. So please post your questions. I see some people are already posting, so that's great. By the way, I'm located in Raleigh, North Carolina. So that's where I'm at in the world. It's a bit rainy today, but we have a great webinar. So let's get into it. So what is TagoDeploy? I get asked this all the time as a customer success manager. Excuse me. So when you think of TagoDeploy, basically what it is, it's a dedicated single-tenant platform, right? Where you have your APIs. Victor will speak to this a little bit, but basically you have your own endpoints, add your own branding and things like that. You still have the Tago Run portal, right? Database backup, which is nice. You can control your own backups and obviously when you restore. Another feature is that on the dedicated instance, which is TagoDeploy, if there's a new release that Tago puts out, you can choose to take that or you can wait to take it. Unlike the multi-tenant standard Tago platform that we're all used to today. MQTT broker, have that. And as I said at the top of the webinar, there's other options there, but Victor's going to talk about that a little bit today. Monitoring add-on services, a little bit more. So as I said on the right side, single tenant instance, it is running on AWS. You have multi-tenant applications just as you do in traditional TagoIO. You could scale on demand, and the key thing, the one thing that customers really like other than being isolated is there are no limits. What I mean by that is on the multi-tenant, you have hard limits, right? It depends on what plan you have, scale, starter, right? But there are hard limits. And some customers run into those hard limits, and I work with them to optimize their application and things like that. But you don't have those limits on TagoDeploy. As well as on the multi-tenant, the standard, let's just call it standard for the sake of this webinar, the traditional Tago IO platform, right? You're on a tiered pricing, meaning, as most of you know, if you're using Tago today, if let's say you need more data input, you're in a tiered pricing format. I believe for like, you get 1 million, then like for another 20 million, it's $20 US, right? You can be much more granular in what your services you are increasing or decreasing. You have full control over that. So you're not on that tiered pricing service that we have today on the standard Tago IO. And you pay for processing and the license, right? So it's basically post-pay. You pay what you've used at the end of the month. So that's really nice. Another huge benefit, right? Right now on the multi-tenant Tago platform, you can deploy in Europe or the US. Well, on TagoDeploy, you can deploy in much more granular fashion across the globe, right? Germany, Ireland, Australia, and there's much more. Singapore, there's much more, right? So you can deploy in 10 plus regions, which is a huge benefit for a lot of our customers, because again, Tago IO is in over 120 countries. So our customer base is spread across the world. So the customers that have took advantage of Tago IO, they love that portion of it, along with many of the other features. But that is a big one for them because they can keep their data local to them. So it's very interesting from that aspect, right? So that's kind of neat. And then from there, I'm going to pass it to Victor, and he's going to talk about platform versus application distribution. This is a very important part of this webinar, and I think you guys will start to understand more as we get going here. And then I'll come back and talk to you guys in a little bit here. So with that, Victor, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, David. Happy to be here, everyone. So I am Victor. I work mostly with our customers to get their application ready to use and to distribute. And I like to start by clarifying what are our goals for the TagoDeploy. And the way I like to think about TagoDeploy is actually a distribution platform. What it means is you are going to use TagoDeploy to distribute your own Tago IO platform that has your own brand. And everything inside this Tago IO platform is going to be used only for you. So your own database, you are not sharing resources with any person. So if something goes down, it just affects your application or other applications and not yours. So this is the real goal of the TagoDeploy. Other than that, of distributing the Tago IO platform, we offer custom add-on services and integrations. So one of the new features I'm going to show you in a moment is a new standalone deployment that allows you to distribute, for example, a MQTT broker without incurring in paying for the license of a full TagoDeploy project. So, and of course, by having Tago IO as a platform, you can have multiple applications. You are going to have multiple profiles. You can have one developer of your team working on a development profile, another and you manage how you want to distribute this development to your production profile. You can have multiple applications for sure in the same distribution, in the same project that you have your Tago IO platform. It works exactly as Tago IO works today. So if you access the Tago IO through the TagoDeploy, that is your isolated instance, you are going to have the exactly same features Dashboard, widgets, analysis, exactly the same. Okay, so let me share my screen here and show you a little bit about what is the TagoDeploy and the new features for the ones that are already using and want to know more of what we have available. So when you have your TagoDeploy account, first thing you're going to see is this page, and I can quickly go to my projects here, and you can see I have here a full Tago distribution and some standalone brokers here for MQTT. So if I do go to my Tago distribution, you can see I have my own admin endpoint, and is distributed in US East 1. So as I did mention, you are going to have your accounts. So this is the Tago platform, right? So if you want to use Tago today, you go to Tago and create an account, right? You're going to come here, create an account, and start using. For the TagoDeploy, the difference is that you create the accounts through here, and you have the credentials, and people are going to see the same screen, the same login screen, and they are using the credentials that you have created for them. Of course, this is expected for your developers. So inside your TagoDeploy, your Tago profile, you are still going to have the Tago run and distribute to your users to the Tago run. These accounts are for people that are going to use the platform to develop your application, manage, and provide the maintenance that your application needs. You can give access to people for a specific profile. So for example, I can come here and go to the David Howe profile that had been created in my TagoDeploy project and give access to another member to access the same profile. So this is basically how you have several developers working the same application. And you are going to see our bills, but specifically for this webinar, because we have other webinars where I go through all these management services configurations. But specifically for this webinar, you can see this project has API, database in memory, analysis runtime. That is how you scale the platform API and the resources the platform needs as you scale. And why this is important? Because we have now a new kind of service. So if I go to services here and I want to deploy any of these services, it doesn't matter if I'm going to use this for Tago, if I'm going to use for my TagoDeploy projects, or if I want to use with other services that are not Tago at all, you can use the service. So you can have your own middleware ship stack with your own endpoint, so you don't need to point to shipstack.middleware.tago.io, for example. You have your own endpoint, and you can point this endpoint to a TagoDeploy project or to Tago itself and use in place of what we have. We also have the MQTT broker. So MQTT broker is one of the highlights of the services. So if I go to install the services, I can install this service in a project that I'm paying, or I can go standalone. And this allows you to have basically a private broker, very customizable, that you can use with the Tago in US, Europe, or the TagoDeploy. So you just select the region, press review install, and you have the basic costs of the infrastructure, which is $50. When you deploy a standalone project, it's going to show in your project a little different. So it's going to show as a standalone. And if you go to manage this standalone project, you see you don't have the API database, nothing like that. You just have collaborators for this project. So basic things that you need. For example, if you domains, if you want to give your MQTT endpoints as your brains, right? Instead of using the default endpoints. And you have the MQTT, which is a new feature. I think we release mid-year this year, where you can configure the same things, right? You have the settings for your broker. You have some other settings here if you want to optimize a few things or add the limitations to your customers. Configure, for example, how long a retained message will live in your broker. And you have the clients. So clients is one of the big things because you can create a credential here for people to be able to log into the MQTT brokers. This is all connected to the API as well. So we are planning to release a much more extensive API documentation for TagoDeploy. Right now, only have the MQTT. So if you want to manage the credentials of your broker through APIs, you can do that. And right now, if you go to the Tago.io MQTT broker, you are forced to use the device token for logging into the MQTT broker. In the TagoDeploy, you can fully customize and automate through the APIs. We have an incoming feature that is going to be an action in Tago that is going to sync credentials if you want to use the token method, right? Of using, if I remember well, you put token username and here you enter the token of your device. So if you want to replicate this on Tago, we are going to release an action that automatically sync the broker with all your devices credentials, and you can still you can move to TagoDeploy and continue to use the same login method if you want to. So you have groups, so you have much more granular control of what your devices can do. So for example, I can create a group here and allow a specific clients to only be able to publish to specific topics, or if they are able to subscribe to specific topics. So you basically create a group here, and then you go to group rules and choose who you want to apply, right? So if I had more people registered here in the clients, I would be able to match and select which groups these devices are going to belong to. You also have connections. So this is basically showing you everyone that is connected to our MQTT broker and for how long, things like that. And pipeline as well. So one of our goals with the TagoDeploy is to be like a hub where you can deploy several things that your application needs. For now, we only have the middlewares and the MQTT broker. We're planning to bring the PDF server. So for example, if you want to use our public PDF server, I think it has a limit of 10 megabytes that you can send to generate a PDF or reports, etc. But if you come here to TagoDeploy and deploy a PDF server for you, this limit is gone. You can send, let's say, 100 megabytes and generate big reports if you want to. And also for credentials, we have the certificates. Oh, I didn't speak about the pipelines. So pipelines basically allow you to send the data, whatever you want. So for example, you can send to Tago. Here is automatically filling up a API for me. If I had a project, this inside a project, this would be a valid API endpoint for my TagoDeploy project. But you can put here quickly the API for Tago, right? So let's say I want to have my broker, but I still want to use the multi-tenant where I pay $200, $300. So I can put here and connect with Tago in US or Europe and send the data to my existing application. Or you can send to anywhere you want, right? If you have a different endpoint, you can just put a different endpoint here and start to feed, let's say, AWS service that you have, or Azure, or another application at all. We also have the certificates. So by enabling certificates, you're basically turning down the clients, right? But this allows you to use certificates to authorize the devices to log in. So basically, I need to fill up here DCA certificate, server certificate, and server key. We have a documentation that covers how to do that. And you can enable or not the MTLS, which is basically the server is going to verify the device, or disable the MTLS, which means only the device is verifying the server. So a lot of options. We plan to bring even more things. We plan to have a new client method, because some customers, so let's explain how this is today, right? So I need to have a credential for each device. And we have some customers using TagoDeploy that want to have a single credential for a customer, but they still need to differentiate each device. So one new type of credential we are trying to bring early next year is to combine the credential with the MQTT client ID. So you will need to match the credential, username, password, and a list of MQTT client IDs that is allowed in order to be able to connect. So this is one way you would be able to have a single username and password and allow a lot of different devices to connect using that credential. From the things I have to say, I don't have much to show you about the new features. I wish I had for this webinar, but we are also working for alerts. One of the things I hear a customer asking is pricing alerts, right? So this is, I think, is very important. So as your billing grows, let's load here. We want to be able for you to be able to customize when you want to start to receive alerts for billing. If, for example, you are spending too much on API start to go over some costs that you set the threshold, I send you an alert telling something is happening. Please check your TagoDeploy service. We are also reworking all this billing page. We try to be very transparent on how we show you how your money is being spending, but we understand from our customers, they want to know better how much services or giving modules of the TagoDeploy is costing them. So we are reworking this, giving you much more flexibility and filters. This is coming soon next year. And I think that's all I have to show you about these new features. I hope you did like. David?
Yes, thank you. That was very informative. I have a couple things here. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So while I'm doing that, by the way, as a reminder, one thing that Victor said is there's a lot to TagoDeploy, but one thing Victor said is we have other webinars that we've done on TagoDeploy where we go through everything. So you can go check those out. I would definitely follow us on LinkedIn, sign up for the newsletter so you get information on Tago in general, right? Because there's a lot of great things we're working on. Some of them I can't speak to, but I guarantee you're going to love them. There's no doubt from that standpoint. But again, while I'm speaking about TagoDeploy on the website itself, again, I have a few questions posted in chat. If you could answer a couple of those, I'm just interested to know, if you already have an IoT platform, what's your IoT solution or business need, and what's the most important thing for you? Is it security, customization, cost? Probably all those things, right? At least customers that I speak to. But what you're looking at here on my screen is you can certainly ask for a demo. As you can see here, it could be a demo of just Tago in general, the multi-tenant. Maybe you want to learn more about TagoDeploy. You can definitely just ask for a demo there. And I can't stress this enough, if you're already on Tago, interact with your CSMs, such as myself. I saw Marlon, I asked him if he needed a demo. And then I realized after I did that, it's like, wait a minute, I'm his CSM. So just interact with your CSM. There's so much value in talking to the CSM, whether you're having a problem, you're interested what we're working on, anything like that. It's important to interact with your CSM. So I'm going to throw that out there. I don't think our customers take advantage of it enough, especially the onboarding. If you're new to Tago, or maybe you never took your onboarding, you've been using Tago for a couple of years, you should still take advantage of an onboarding call with your CSM just to learn stuff in general if you don't have specific questions. But that's enough about the CSMs. What you're looking at here on my screen is the TagoDeploy page, right? You can sign up here. You can register for TagoDeploy if you want. As I said, ask for a demo. But a lot of these things are what Victor spoke about, but it's a nice read. I get lots of compliments on this web page on how well it is put together. So, we've already talked about, pay as you go, your own instance, security, cost training. We went into that a little bit. This is a big one that's at the top of the webinar. If you were late joining, you can really be granular on how you are interacting with your limits, such as data input, hard limits that you have on the multi-tenant that on this dedicated cloud instance you do not have, like 30 tags, for a starter count, I think it is. I don't recall exactly, but there's some hard limits there that we have to put in place on the multi-tenant that you don't have those restrictions here. So a lot of customers that have gone to TagoDeploy love that feature about it, along with other things. And as we spoke about, it's really complete independence, as it says here. I use that all the time because it's true, right? And we talk about, I talked about it at the top of the webinar. We have customers, in over 120 countries, and they want to be much more selective on where their data is. They don't want it to touch the US or whatever, right? You can do that on TagoDeploy. Multi-tenant, you can do that. You can, sign up for a US account or a Europe account, but then your data is in Ireland, right? Maybe you don't want.
Let me jump here. People are saying they cannot see your screen. It's black screen. For me, it's showing, but...
Oh, really?
If you can try sharing again.
Yeah, stop and try again. All right, can you see it now? Marcus, do you see my screen? Maybe you could reply. Well, hopefully everybody can see. Basically where I'm at. Okay, now you can. All right, so let me back up just a minute. I will be very quick here. I think you guys got what most I said. This is where I was talking about the limits, right? I'm just on tago.io/deploy. You get there from our main website. Ask for a demo, right? Deploy in very specific regions of the country. So again, as I said, I apologize. I don't know why my screen wasn't sharing, but it seemed to be sharing for the internal folks on the webinar. You have all the main features that you have on the multi-tenant. There is no difference from that. And of course, we have our FAQ. So check it out. Again, it's very well put together. But the biggest thing I would say is if you have more questions, just contact me or ask for a demo, and we could dive much deeper, whether that's TagoDeploy or anything that you want to speak about, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very valuable.
And we would love to see you try the TagoDeploy. I got one question here, David. Should I start with Tago.io or TagoDeploy first?
My comment to that would be, if you're new to Tago, right, ask for a demo so we could walk you through some things and show you some things that you may not know, because Tago's huge, you guys. Don't forget it. There's so many features. We've been in business 11 years, so we've had a lot of time to build out this platform, right? So Tago is big. But to answer your question specifically, I would sign up for a free account first. You have limited resources, but it's enough to get started. And one of the things I would also do, besides sign up for a free account, ask for a demo, is, and we'll go over this on the demo, is really go through the Learning Center. Now, on the free account, you only get 5 dashboards and 5 devices, but even if you go to Starter, it's only $49 a month. That's where I recommend you start, just to get a feel for Tago. I would not recommend diving right into a dedicated instance. But one thing that I think Victor was talking about, I believe we are working on something. I can't really say too much about it, to where you'll be able to try TagoDeploy. Don't hold me to that. I believe we're working on that. But right now for you, just sign up for a free account and ask for a demo so we can walk you through some things.
And if I can add something to discussion, I think it's important to understand the price cutting of TagoDeploy, right? So if you have a very small application, in the Tago.io, you're going to be spending $200, $300. TagoDeploy has a pricing cut in the $800 because of the license. So if your application is spending less than $800, TagoDeploy is not where you want to start. So you probably should start with Tago.io, scale your application, get to the point where the cost for the TagoDeploy is going to make sense for you.
That is a great point. And just so you guys know, some of the customers that I've worked with directly that have gone to TagoDeploy, they did for a specific reason. Some of it was pricing, right? They needed a dedicated instance, and they needed to know, be much more selective where their data was. But the main common denominator in those customers was that they were scaling, and it made sense from a financial standpoint to go to TagoDeploy. I'd be glad to speak about that in detail one-on-one with you guys, but there's lots of reasons from a financial standpoint why TagoDeploy makes more sense than the multi-tenant. If you're already scaling, you're already up there a little bit. So Victor's point is very well taken. That's a great point.
And we have full scripts in place for the migration. So if when you start to scale and you want to go to TagoDeploy, you can know this is going to be an easy move. We are fully going to support you to move to the TagoDeploy in an integrated way. So we transfer all the database for TagoDeploy, and you just need to update your endpoints.
That is another good point. Yes. As I said, I've had many customers move from the multi-tenant to the dedicated TagoDeploy instance with no problems whatsoever. It's a smooth transition, as Victor was referring to. So with that, you guys, thank you for your time. Please reach out to your CSM if you want to learn more, or just want a general discussion around Tago in general. Just interact with us. We're very transparent. We love to speak to our customers. And in my opinion, I don't get to speak to enough of them, because I love speaking to them and learning what they're doing. And not only that, what would they like to see, right? I'm very interested in that. And we are a very tight-knit internal team, and we talk about that all the time. So if you have a feature enhancement or a feature request or whatever it is, just ask for a demo or reach out to your CSM, email your CSM. We'd love to speak to you. But other than that, thank you, everybody, for joining. Keep your eye out for more webinars. I believe this will be posted. This webinar will be posted in a couple days. If not, I think maybe tomorrow. So you'll have that to reference back. But other than that, I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Victor, and have a great day night, wherever you're at in the world. Thank you.